Eve, born from an ice magician and a wolf girl, is happy to find another sprout. Their family survives by selling medicinal herbs, which they go to the snowy fields to buy. Suddenly the girl freezes in fear, noticing a small company of boys from the wolf clan. One of the boys hears a noise behind him and turns around sharply, looking at Eva. Attracting the attention of his interlocutors, the boy invites them to look at such a strange creature. Pure-blooded wolves constantly insult the girl and treat her cruelly. The wolves scream at Eve to get out of here and throw a snowball at her, which hits her right in the head. Blood appears on Eva's forehead, and the boys laugh and call her a half-breed. The wolves' disdain for half-breeds stings the girl stronger than the frosty wind of the northern lands. One of the wolves looms over Eve and asks if she is going to answer him. Suddenly, Eva notices that the boy is trampling on the herbs that she collected for her pregnant mother. Stretching out his hand to the girl, the wolf asks if her legs can't hold her up because of fear. Eva tries to shield herself from the next blow, and at that moment, everything inside her begins to boil with rage. The wolves freeze in amazement when they see an ice flow in Eva's hands and realize that this is ice magic. The boy furiously approaches Eve and asks how the mudblood dared to raise a hand against them. The girl screams in despair that the wolf should not approach her, otherwise this ice flow will pierce him through. The wolves begin to laugh, wondering how the girl could think that they would be scared by ice magic in lands where it is everywhere. The boy sharply pushes Eva, saying that now he will show her where her place is. The girl hits the tree with force, and at that moment an image unknown to her flashes through her head. Eve remembers a cute human girl coming out of a bookstore. The girl, in confusion, realizes that this girl is herself and remembers the novel that she loved to read. The main character of the book, called Little Red Riding Hood, was the head of the half-breed dragons. During the war with wolves, the heroine met a half-breed wolf who begged her for salvation. The young man desperately wanted to bring his murdered older sister back to life. Little Red Riding Hood really liked the half-breed wolf and decided to make him hers. Eva was reading the novel because this was exactly the story that she wanted to read. At some point, the girl closed her eyes tightly and whispered that she wanted to see all this in reality. Eva presses her hands to her head in despair, unable to believe what is happening. The girl understands that her wish has come true and she has been reborn in this novel. Suddenly, Eve realizes that since this is Little Red Riding Hood's world, she must act accordingly. The wolf hovers over the girl and asks with a grin if her brains are now in place. Eva understands that fools must be taught and pushes the boy with her shoulder. The girl starts to run, and the discouraged wolves just stare after her. Eva runs as fast as she can, thinking that the author of all this is a real madman. But on the other hand, the heroine reflects. She herself wanted to see everything for real. Eve's mother looks out the window, waiting for her daughter to finally return home. The woman strokes her stomach and says that until her sister returns, they will not see a warm dinner. On the way to the house, Eva reflects that if she understood everything correctly, then her unborn brother Zion is the main character of the novel. In the book, people lived together with half-bloods, and half-wolves and half-dragons had strong hatred for each other. The enmity began when one day a wolf stole the heart of the head of the dragons. Having lost the heart that she wanted to give to her lover, the head died because she could not control the power due to anger and grief. According to legend, Little Red Riding Hood's brother also had one heart and died in the end because he was unable to curb his power. Little Red Riding Hood blamed the wolves for her brother's death and organized a cleanup in the north. In this novel, Eve was the protagonist's sister who was stabbed to death by Little Red Riding Hood. Grabbing an axe, Eva thinks that she already had a difficult childhood, so will the end really be joyless? Striking powerful blows, the girl understands that she needs to get out of here no matter what happens. Wiping sweat from her forehead, Eva thinks that she doesn't want to die like a dog. Suddenly the door opens. The mother comes out of the house and asks what strange sounds are being heard. The girl points to a hole in the wall and says that wolves damaged their house. The woman covers her mouth in horror after hearing that the wolves promised to kill them if they did not leave. Eva decides that she needs to prevent the main characters from meeting at all costs, so she will have to lie to her mother a little. The woman assures that she will take care of her daughter, and for this they need to go deep into the forest. Looking at her brother, who was born on the same day, Eve thinks that someone clearly laughed at her plans. After the birth of the child, the girl's mother became much worse. She could not even get out of bed. Eve thinks with despair that there was no wolf nearby who could have given birth to the half-breed. Mom tells her daughter that good things happen to good children, so instead of hitting, you should show kindness. The woman wearily closes her eyes and whispers that she is very sorry that everything turned out this way. Sitting at the bedside of her deceased mother and listening to the cry of her newborn brother, Eva realizes that this is now her reality. After many years of living deep in the forest, Eve one day came across an unconscious girl. Looking at the baby, the girl does not understand what a child can do in the forest alone. Eva decides to leave, but suddenly notices that the girl has a high fever. The girl rushes about, but convinces herself that someone else will find the child and help her. Suddenly, her mother's words that good things happen to good children ring in her head. Having thrown the child on her shoulders, Eva carries her home, not understanding what consequences this will lead to. Xian runs out to meet his sister, saying that he was playing alone and no strangers came. Eva affectionately pats her brother on the head, saying that he is a great fellow. Hanging her cloak on a hanger, the girl wonders if their guest has woken up. Xian notices that the girl has been sleeping for a very long time. Probably she has not rested yet. Looking at the child, Eva thinks doubtfully that 3 days have already passed and there are no changes. The sister notices that it is probably due to the heat and asks her brother to bring cold water and a towel. Eva reflects that even the best herbs did not help, but given their circumstances, they cannot see a doctor. Laying her head on the bed, the girl wonders whether she did the right thing by bringing the stranger home. Taking the girl by the hand, Eva realizes that she could not leave her alone in danger in the forest. Summoning ice magic, the girl asks for forgiveness for the fact that she cannot help anymore. Suddenly, Eva hears the girl begin to come to her senses and asks in fear if she has a headache. Looking into the child's opened eyes, the girl notices that they are red like rubies. Suddenly, Eve jumps up sharply. In this world, only one race has red eyes. Xian returns to the room and looks in surprise at his sister's worried face. The girl sits up on the bed, and Eva intuitively hides her brother behind her back. Looking at the guest, Eva realizes that this is the same Little Red Riding Hood in front of her, which will kill her and take Zion. In the novel, Little Red Riding Hood once asked a young man who she was to him. Zion, crying piteously, replied that the girl was his patroness. And at the same moment, the girl, taking Eva by the hand, uttered the same words. Taking her hand back, the girl declares that calling her a patroness is somehow too much. Eva cannot understand if this is really Little Red Riding Hood in front of her. Then why she ended up in the north so early? In the original story, the meeting of the girl and Zion took place when they were already adults. Looking at the uninvited guest, the girl thinks that the course of events has clearly changed. The boy tugs at his sister, and she whispers to him that he doesn't need to show himself just yet. Zion looks pitifully at his sister and asks if he can talk to the girl later. Eve, in despair, thinks that if the heroes meet right now, everything will end the same as in the original story. Eva tells her brother that the guest may be scared, and therefore he should wait outside the door. The girl politely asks for forgiveness for not being able to thank her savior earlier. Eva waves her hands embarrassedly and says that all this is nothing, and anyone in her place would have done the same. The girl notices that the guest does not look dangerous, but this may be due to the fact that she is still a child. Eva is sure that if the children do not meet, then her plan will continue to be implemented. For the sake of safety, the girl wants to get into the human world, but intermediaries will only help those whose identity is known. No one will let the poor commoners through. In any world, nothing is impossible for those who have money. Therefore, Eve's ambitious goal is to buy a castle together with Zion and move to the human world. That is why the girl memorized a book on medicinal herbs left by her father. Eva persistently saved money, earning money by selling valuable herbs. However, no one could have imagined that events would be mixed up. If Eve returned Little Red Riding Hood home safe, then only time would separate her from a happy ending. While the girl is dreaming, the girl asks for forgiveness for the question, but she has absolutely no idea where she is and who she even is. Eva looks at her guest in amazement, at first not understanding what she is talking about. Eva saved her, but instead of a simple thank you, she got a full-blown identity crisis dropped on her lap. Like, girl, I just rescued you. Not sign up to solve your life's mystery. The girl presses her hand to her face and quietly admits that she doesn't remember anything. Eve falls to the floor and asks the holy heavens how this could even happen. The girl looks at the girl seriously and asks if she is serious when she says all this. The guest admits that all she remembers is that it was very hot. Eve thinks that something happened to the girl before she lost consciousness and that this is probably why she lost her memory. You could use information from the novel and say that she is Rachel, a dragon warrior who controls fire. You can also tell that Rachel's brother is the ruler of the South and now she can return home, realizing that Ava cannot tell everything as it is. And does this mean that she herself will have to take the girl to the South? With despair, the girl realizes that for a wolf to venture into the southern lands is akin to suicide. Seeing that Eve is very embarrassed, Rachel asks for forgiveness for the fact that she has nothing to repay for her kindness. The girl waves her hands, assuring that there is no need to pay, but she herself thinks that it would be enough for the guest to return home. Suddenly, Rachel jumps up on the bed and passionately convinces that she really wants to thank her savior. The girl states that if Eva doesn't mind, then until her memory returns, she would like to stay here. Eve is stunned. She seems to hear how her plan is carried away into the distance, and her life is sliding into a pit of poverty. Having waited for his companion to come running, the man asks whether they found the fugitive or not. The man throws off his hood and, flashing his red eyes, declares that if they don't find her immediately, then they will lose their heads. Knowing their leader, the pursuers immediately scatter in different directions.